Hey folks, I hope that you can hear me. Welcome to the. Hey folks, I hope that you can hear me. My name is Alan Collins, founder of StudentLoanJustice.org. Welcome to the StudentLoanJustice.org live stream for Wednesday, June 24th? 4th. Hope everybody's hanging in there during the still semi-quarantine period. If you have any questions or comments, shoot them out as we go along. I can see the comments as they are being made, so I'm happy to respond in situ. I'm going to keep it pretty short tonight. There's really only two things that are very, very important right now. One is our petition. The second one is our legislation. So first things first, we started a petition calling on President Trump or the next president to cancel all federally owned student loans by executive order. It turns out, we've been doing this for many years, by the way, we've been around for over 15 years now. Turns out that the only way these loans are going to get canceled is not by Congress. It's by an executive order calling on the secretary to simply cancel the loans. I know there's a lot of talk about student loan cancellation in the zeitgeist. And most of that is being driven by various pieces of legislation and various campaign proposals that Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and others in Congress are putting out. But folks, I am here to tell you, all those forgiveness proposals will never work. And here's why. All of the proposals require Congress raising a whole ton of money, tax money, and giving that money to the Department of Education and maybe even private lenders so that they can pay for the loan cancellation. So first of all, that's just never going to happen. Congress is not going to raise $1 to $2 trillion. And if they do, they're not going to use the money for canceling student loans. But let's say in a perfect world that actually happened. Lightning struck, and they did do that. Even still, we have a Department of Education, folks, that has no desire or intentions of canceling any loans. They will take the money and they will do everything they can to disqualify as many people as possible out of the programs. So, for example, the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. We now know that the disqualification rate, the people that fell through the cracks, didn't dot their I's, didn't cross their T's, for one reason or another, did not make it through the program, is 99.2%. Similarly, if you're in an income-based repayment program, 57% of the people got kicked out in 2015 alone. The data on that is a little more scant. The first of the IBR loans won't be forgiven for quite some time, quite a few years now. But my best guess is that it will be miraculous if more than like 5, maybe 10% of the people trying for IBR actually make it through. The Department of Education has no desire or intentions of canceling any loans. And by the way, the legislation we're seeing out there is lame in the first place. Even the bill as they are written initially are lame. The CARES Act proposal, or the HEROES Act, I guess it is now, for fiscal stimulus, I think it's up to $10,000 in student loan forgiveness. Now, I don't know about you, but $10,000 of loan forgiveness is just, it's nonsense. It's frankly pretty insulting. And that's going in. So after the bill makes it through the Washington, D.C. sausage machine, it will be even less good. And then, yeah, as I said, it'll get dumped to the Department of Education, who will bureaucratize it to death. So folks, we cannot count on Congress to cancel any loans. It ain't going to happen. The president, however, whether it's Donald Trump or Joe Biden or anybody else, the president can simply order the secretary to cancel the loans. And the secretary is obliged to do that. No money changes hands. Nothing needs to be paid for. No tax money has to be raised. Nothing needs to be added to the national debt. In fact, no money changes hands at all. That's what needs to happen. That's the only way the loans are going to actually be canceled. So that is what we are fighting for, folks. We are it. We are the tip of the spear. We are the pioneers. Everybody with student loans needs to know about us. But definitely 80% of all student loan borrowers absolutely need to know about us. because 80% of all federal student loan borrowers will never be able to repay their loans. And that's not me saying that. That's the recently resigned chief operating officer of the federal lending program. Those are his words, not mine. So if you know 5 people with student loans, 4 of them need to know about us for sure. Really, all 5 do. But we are the pioneers, folks. Like it or not, we are it. If there was another group actually fighting to get student loans canceled, I would join that group. There are none. All of the other plans out there are doomed to fail. They are DOA. Don't waste your time on them. Don't be distracted by them. I know at least one of the groups that's pushing that nonsense. They actually use their group as hunting grounds. They don't care about the legislation. They don't care about getting student loan justice, much less student loan cancellation. All they care about is getting as many warm bodies under the group as possible so they can prey upon them, particularly defaulted borrowers. They like to rope them and railroad them into very unwise, very harmful loan rehabilitation programs. But there's a million ways they can make money off you. Loan counselors, loan debt coaches, a bunch of nonsense. So please, folks, don't fall for it. We are literally the only true citizens group of any size that's actually fighting this battle. So you heard it here first, folks. This is the place to be if you actually want student loan justice. So on the petition that we started at change.org, and it's linked either over there or up there, I'm glad to say we've got like 305,000 signatures at this time. That's a great start, but folks, we've got to get more. I would like to have 10 million signatures on that petition. Now, before you roll your eyes, hear me out. There are 55 million people in the country with student loans. 80% of them will never be able to repay their loans. That's 44 million people. So when I say that we need 10 million signatures on this petition, I'm not kidding. It's totally doable. But it starts with you. Please, I know student loans suck. I know if you're watching this, you probably don't even want to be watching this. And I totally hear you on that. Student loans suck in every way. They're no fun to think about. You'd rather they just went away and just somebody else solved the problem and just go away. I know, I get that. But it doesn't work that way. We've got to put a little bit of effort into this. You know, we've been doing, as I said, we've been doing this for 15 years now. We've been featured on 60 Minutes, on the New York Times, on CNBC, and Fox News, and NPR, and PBS, and the McNeil Lehrer Show, and Vice News, and Rolling Stone, and Penthouse Magazine, and Al Jazeera, and pretty much every show you can imagine. We've broken a lot of stories. I've poured my heart and soul, and a lot of other people on this group have done a tremendous amount of work. And I can say, and I'm sure that I speak for everybody who knows what's going on this group, who's done some of the hard work necessary, we've never been in a better position than we are here today. We are in perfect position. We are poised perfectly to get these loans canceled by the election in November. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, oh, Donald Trump will never do that. Donald Trump's an asshole. You may be right. Donald Trump may be an asshole. We are a nonpartisan group. We point the finger where it needs to point, and I'll be the first to admit that Donald Trump has been a disastrous nightmare on the student loan issue. But so too has Joe Biden, though, by the way. I can say horrible, terrible things about Obama Biden, and about Trump. Betsy DeVos, you know, presidents and secretaries of secretaries of education, they come and go, guys. The problem is the unelected, unappointed bureaucrats, lobbyists, and many other swamp people in and around the Department of Education and the federal student loan problem that are the problem. Now, Trump is malleable. Trump is no dummy. He wants to win the election. And when he sees that there are 44 million voters, most of whom are independent, who are being strangled by these loans, his ears will perk up. You know, this is the biggest political jackpot treasure trove in the country right now. I kid you not. This is the Wild West of politics. Student loans was not even a presidential election issue 8 years ago. Not at all. Last year it kind of was, or last 4 years ago it kind of was. This year it absolutely is. Of domestic issues, it's like top 2 or 3. But really, if you look at the number of people who are living and breathing, the number one thing they would vote on if something good was presented to them is student loans. 44 million distressed student loan voters are enough to nearly elect a president outright. So what's most important right now and for the next 5 months is that everybody, if you really want to see these loans gone, and I think that you do everything you can to push that petition, wherever you may see it. Change.org/cancel student loans, capital C, capital S, capital L. Change.org/cancel student loans. Do everything you can. Right now, and today, and as soon as you get off this live stream, if you do just this one thing, that will be pulling your weight. And that is, send an email to a news organization. Pick one. Any news organization you think is neat, or maybe you don't like, I don't care. Get an email address for a producer or a reporter, and send them a link to our petitions, and say whatever you need to say to convince them to report on this petition that we are doing. We've already been featured on Fox News Radio, Minneapolis Progressive Radio, the Good Men Project, C-SPAN, I would say Forbes magazine, kind of, but not really. It was kind of a throwaway piece. And others, something called Status Quo, and we've done a ton of interviews as well. We've got a couple other stories perking along. But folks, the media really can and should be helping us with this. I know everything is sort of up in the air right now with all the protests and the racial issues. Make it a racial issue if you want. Black and brown people are hurt far worse by student loans than almost, I think, any other demographic. Women are also hit particularly hard. 2/3 of all student loan debt is held by women. And the default rate for African Americans as of like 10 years ago was 5 times, 500% what the average default rate is. And by the way, it's a failed lending system. And when I say failed, I mean put a fork in this lending system writ large. Even not looking at the racial component at all. My best guess is that of everybody walking around with student loans right now, something like 60 or 70% of them are absolutely going to default on their loans. 80% will never be able to repay their loans. That's a failed lending system, folks. It could have a good outcome. It could have a bad outcome. What we are fighting for right now with this petition is the good outcome. Get rid of it. Get rid of this lending system. Let's do a clean break, start over, come up with a better way to fund colleges. Totally doable. But it starts with canceling the current one, because this son of a gun is a national threat at this point. It's threatening you, it's threatening me, and it's threatening 43,999,998 other people. So, dudes, this is our fight. I know if you're like me, you're kind of shoved into this. You're sort of an accidental activist. And that's fine, man. Just embrace it. For the next 5 months, embrace it. Because if you don't help us fight, it ain't going to get fought. This is your loans. This is your problem. We need you, and you need us. So if we all do a little bit of work, just a little bit of work, like send the link to this petition to one reporter tonight when you get done watching this. That's enough to move mountains, but only when everybody does it. So don't be sitting here come December saying, I never did anything. Now we're stuck with whatever president we're stuck with. And oh man, it doesn't look like he's going to do anything on student loans. We don't want to go there. We don't want to be that guy. We want to do the little bit of work right now so that these loans will be gone before the election. Whether you hate Donald Trump or whether you like him, any presidential candidate who looks at this problem honestly, intellectually honestly, knows that the right thing to do, the constitutional thing, the right thing by the country, the right thing for economic stimulus, by far the cheapest way to and the easiest way to stimulate the economy is to cancel these loans. It's going to have to happen sooner or later. Might as well be sooner, and let to the victor go the spoils, as they say. And if you really don't want Donald Trump to be president, I would say you have to help us push. Even if he did cancel loans, I think that would still not be enough to push him over the edge to victory. I don't know. I'm not going to read into the tea leaves. Anyway, I'm not even going to overthink it. Just put it this way, folks. You helping us push this petition is the one and only way that these loans are going to go away before the election. I would like that to happen. And it could play out a number of ways. We don't know. We could throw the gauntlet down in a very public way. Donald Trump looks at it, and then Joe Biden says, I pledge that as president, I will issue an executive order canceling these loans. And if that happens, then good for Joe. Then the vast majority of those votes will go to him. Donald Trump may say, all right, that's it. I'm canceling it right now, today. These loans are done. There, done. Boom. And in that case, then, I don't know, maybe Trump, I don't know. I don't know how the voters will respond. But I do know that absolutely nothing will happen if you do nothing. So would you rather spend 10, 15, 20 minutes a week helping push this petition, get it in the limelight, and getting these loans gone before the election? Or using that 20 minutes a week staring out the window, worrying about your student loans, and doing nothing? And then at the end of come November, nothing happens. What would you rather do? I would rather that first thing happen, and I hope that you agree. We have an opportunity here, folks. And anybody who's been on this group for any length of time would agree. But it starts with you. So please help us push the petition. So that's the one thing we got going on. The second thing, and I'll be brief. We also have legislation that will return bankruptcy protections to all the student loans that the president cannot cancel by executive order. So that's private student loans, which is probably 7% of all student loans, and also Perkins loans and the legacy FFELP loans. So all told, after the president cancels the loans that we want him to cancel by executive order, about 15% will be left over. So 85% of all student loans are directly owned by the federal government. 15% are not affected. There's nothing the president can do by executive order. So this legislation is very important if you have private loans, Perkins loans, or the older style FFELP loans. Having bankruptcy back on our side, whether you would ever or never file, is not important. Just having the threat of bankruptcy back on our side is what is very important. So we have two bills in the House and Senate right now. The House bill is HR 2648. The Senate bill is S1414. And right now, we need to get Republican senators to co-sponsor S1414. So if you have private loans, Perkins loans, old style FFELP loans, you had better make it your mission between now and the end of the year to make sure that you get at least one Republican senator to co-sponsor S1414. So, petition, legislation. Those are the two things. If I've convinced you at this point, and I pray that I have, that yeah, I'm going to try one thing or two things. Number one, send a reporter or a news organization an email, tell them to report on our petition. You can see it there, see it there. That's the one thing. Second thing, get a Republican senator to co-sponsor S1414. That's it. Those are the two things that we really need right now. Keep it very simple. So I really hope that I've said something that's going to get a few people off the couch tonight. We are the pioneers on this. Like it or not, it's true. And as corny as it sounds, the country actually needs you right now. Now is the time for all good men and women to come to the aid of their country. And by country, I don't mean the government, I mean the people. Your countrymen, your fellow citizens. Not to mention the tens or hundreds of millions of people that are going to follow in our footsteps. They do not deserve to be conquered and enslaved by this predatory, unconstitutional, hyperinflationary lending system. We don't deserve it. They don't deserve it. The onus is on us to fight. Do the Founding Fathers proud. They are on our side. If you don't like the Founding Fathers, just think about all the people who fought and died for our freedom over the years. If you don't like them, just do it for yourself. Do it for your family. Do it for any reason you can think of. There's so many great reasons. This is the fight of our livelihoods, maybe of our lifetimes. I don't know. So keep us posted on your progress. Let me know as you're getting things done. We're happy to help in any way we can. We're very happy to do phone calls with legislators, with staffers. We are at the beck and call of the media to do interviews all day long. Give a reporter or a news organization our email address, justice@studentloanjustice.org. You can give them my phone number, 202-594-1120. My name is Alan Collinge. And I am ready to do 25 or 30 interviews a day on this topic if I can. But it starts with you. You've got to set the media up, set up an interview for us, and we will knock them down. It's what we're good at. We've been sharpening this sword for years and even decades now at this point. So good luck. Godspeed, and keep us posted as to your progress. Have a great night. Peace.